What is going on, everybody? It's been a while. I think February was the last time we had a episode up. But in one day, the NFL season is upon us. And I am here to talk about the latest news, notes throughout the season for you, who got injured, which we never want to see, and who won, who lost, who looks great, who looks bad. It's a great time of year. Let's get right into it. I want to start off with this. The Khalil Mack trade. For the Bears, I thought it was phenomenal. Yeah, you give up 2 first-round picks, and as well as a 3rd and a 6th, but you won the trade regardless. Now, how could a team that gave up 2 first-round picks and a few other picks for one player win the trade? A, because they got a second rounder too. They swapped a 3rd and a 2nd. And they got the player. That leads me to the Raiders. I don't even know where to start with the Raiders, to be honest with you. They are so inept with this deal. I couldn't fathom reading what I read about this trade. I mean, at the end of the day, they don't have the player. The Bears got the player. But they got 2 first-round picks. That's what they're saying. What's wrong with that? There's a lot wrong with that. You had the best pass rusher in the league, by far, entering his prime. And you were too cheap to pay him. This is Cincinnati Bengals stuff. And I'm a Bengals fan. So to me, what was the most disturbing about this entire thing was John Gruden after the fact, saying that we all have to be united, and it was a united decision. What? According to the GM, he didn't want to get rid of Khalil Mack. But let's be real, this isn't the GM's team. This is John Gruden's team. Now, if I'm a Raider fan, and I know some Raider fans, if I were a Raider fan, I'd be PO'd about this. Why? Because, as far as I was concerned, this team could have been a borderline playoff team. Could have been. He was the Lawrence Taylor of this defense. He did everything. You didn't have a secondary, you don't have linebackers, and you don't have a defensive line. Your best player was on the defensive line, had 5 sacks in a game, 2016 Defensive Player of the Year, and you couldn't pay the man. Oh, but we got 2 first-round picks for him. Do I need to look up the last 10 first-round picks for the not the Dallas Cowboys, that's the even bigger mess, the Oakland Raiders? Let's start 10 first-round picks ago. This was about 11 years ago. Jamarcus Russell. We all know how that turned out. Darren McFadden. Played well for the Cowboys, not really the Raiders. Darius Hayward-Bay. He's a Steeler. Rolando McClain is a Redskin, I believe. He might be a Cowboy. I'm not sure. In 2011, 2012, he had no picks. DJ Hayden, Jaguar. 2014, Khalil Mack. 2015, Amari Cooper. 2016, Carl Joseph. 2017, Garyon Conley. And I don't need to remind you who was 2018, Colton Miller. The worst first-round draft pick of the year. Now, many people want to say that Rashad Penny was the worst one. I can see the argument for that. But who was on the board when the Raiders picked Colton Miller? Tremaine Edmonds, who went to the Bills a pick later. And Derwin James, who your division rival LA Chargers got. I don't understand. We are in a time where where the salary cap's increasing every year. The Raiders claimed they were poor. I don't buy that. Here's why I don't buy that. You paid your quarterback. Drafted the same year in the second round. And you signed your center to a long-term deal. But you couldn't pay the best player on your team? If I'm a Raider fan, I'm beyond infuriated. The fact of the matter is that John Gruden's sitting there with a 10-year, $100 million deal. Every cent of that contract is guaranteed, by the way. And you couldn't pay Khalil Mack, who is one of the best defensive players in the game right now. I put him above J.J. Watt. Because J.J. Watt's never healthy. I don't get it. I don't. Let's move on to the next thing before I start fuming. Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas still holding out. There's no surprise there. He wants a contract or he wants to be traded, and the number one team that's affiliated with him in the trade market is the Dallas Cowboys. And you know how those fans are. As soon as they get a whiff of a rumor involving a star defensive player, they go crazy. They say, Jerry Jones will get it done. Jerry Jones will get it done. All I hear is crickets right now, because the Cowboys, according to league sources, only want to give up a third-round pick for the guy. The Seahawks have made it evidently clear. They want nothing less than a 2. As in a second-round pick. I'll tell you what I'd do if I were the Seahawks. And my player wants to go to a team. Specifically. I'm gonna call that team. And I'm gonna make a price that's expensive. Because I'm gonna make them give up more to acquire a player who wants to go there. I don't see what's wrong with that. Dallas Cowboy fans are sitting here like, we don't need to give up anything for Earl Thomas if he doesn't want to play for you. No. If I were the GM for the Seattle Seahawks, I'd sit there and say, I want 2 firsts and a second. Bottom line. If you want this player who clearly wants to play for you, then you're going to give me every penny. And you can take over his contract right now if you want to. I'm not paying it. If the Cowboys say no to that offer, then I'm going and calling a division rival, i.e. the Giants, Redskins. I'm going to go call them and say, I'll give you to him for a 2, straight up, Jimmy Garoppolo style. I'll give him to you for a 2. Do you really think the Giants and the Redskins are going to refuse a second And a second round pick is all it's going to take to acquire one of the best free safeties in the game. If I'm the Giants, I'm jumping all over that because I'm trying to win. If I'm the Redskins, I'm jumping all over that, knowing he wants to go to the Cowboys. The Eagles don't need him. They don't. It'd be nice to have him, but they don't need him. And if I'm the Cowboys, I'm sitting there saying, if I'm the Seahawks, let's go back to the Seahawks. I'll call the Giants. I'll have a deal in place, and I'll say, hold up on that. Let me talk to my people. Then I go over and call Dallas and say, I got a really good offer from the Giants that involves 2 firsts, a second, and a third. What's your offer? And if Cowboys are sitting there, or if the Cowboys are dumb enough to sit there and say, we can't do it, then I'll sit there like, all right, done deal. Give me the second round pick, and you can have Earl Thomas, New York. That's what I would do. If my player wants to go to a team and is demanding to go to that team, I'm making that team pay more for him. Period, end of story. Why wouldn't you? That'd be like trying to think of a player. Oh, boy. On my team. Never will happen, but let's just say A.J. Green wants to go to the Rams. I'm going to make the Rams pay more for A.J. Green than, let's say, the 49ers or the Seahawks, maybe even the Cardinals. That's where my mind's at right now with those two situations. Another situation to keep an eye on is Le'Veon Bell. He is also holding out because he doesn't want to get run down like DeMarco Murray did with the Cowboys. If you're a Steeler fan, you have to be scared right now. And we'll go over the conference schedules, not the schedules, but the conference records and my predictions for the playoffs in a few minutes here. But if you're a Steeler fan, you should be concerned. That's all I got to say. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Bengals fan. I'm dead serious. You should be concerned. Because if you lay an egg week 1 to Cleveland, your season is over. It's over. There's no realistic way, as far as I see it, you're getting to 10 wins if you lose to Cleveland. No way. Coming up next, we are going to talk about the AFC playoff picture, or as far as I predict the playoff picture to be at the end of the season. And I'll break down every team from last to by division, from last to first. That's coming up here in a few minutes. See you then.